A month ago, before the start of the last CSGO Major, we made predictions about the main favorites and underdogs of the Blast Paris Major. Today, we will review the tournament and evaluate the performances of our contenders, who succeeded and who didn't. How did the crowd support future champions? Why did many teams from the HLTV top 10 fail in the tournament? Is the Blast Major really the best in CSGO history? Today, you will find answers to these questions. Let's go. 9. Let's start with the team that we considered one of the main underdogs of the tournament, the Polish team, 9. On their way to the Major, they defeated the future quarterfinalist, Into the Breach, and the champion Vitality. However, in the Legends stage, the Poles showed nothing. They lost all 3 matches without a chance. It seemed like a different team after their triumph in the qualifiers and the RMR. All the players were underperforming. Hades, who had previously won all the open duels in the RMR, only succeeded in 50% of the situations at the Major. Almost all matches were lost without a chance. They only made a comeback against Gamer Legion on Mirage, but it was not enough. It should be noted that 9 had very bad luck with the bracket. All 3 of their opponents advanced to the playoffs, and Gamer Legion even played in the final. 9 was overestimated, but reaching the Legend stage and obtaining stickers is already an achievement for such a small organization. In my opinion, this lineup should be given another chance to perform in a Tier 1 tournament, and then consider roster changes. Navi. Let's move on to the team that looked very strong after the RMR, Navi. If Naples showed an unreal performance at the RMR in the final rehearsal before the Paris Major, IEM Rio, we saw the same Nepal that played for Navi in the last 6 months. At the same time, Navi proved that the maximum for this lineup is 3rd place. However, almost everyone was shocked when Navi failed to reach the Major playoffs. It was the first time since PGL Major Krakow 2017. First, Navi had no chance against Liquid, then against Monty, and in the match for the spot, they lost a comeback against FaZe on Anubis with a score of 15-9. And all of this happened on the same Anubis where they had a 100% before loss versus Monty. In the end, Naples was one of the worst performing players of the tournament with a rating of 0.75. There couldn't be a better time to rebuild the roster without Russians. There's still a month or 2 before the first Tier 1 tournaments in CSGO for preparation, which can be spent on adapting players without citizenship of the terrorist state. FaZe. In this tournament, FaZe once again showed that they have a strong mental component that allows them to come back in the toughest situations. In the RMR, they made a comeback from a 5-14 score on Mirage against Cloud9, and then in the Challenger stage, they came back from a 14-10 against Monty on Ancient. But the most important comeback was against Navi, when Born to Win had 6 map points on Anubis. In the Champion stage, FaZe faced Heroic, whom many analysts predicted as a future finalist. So it's not surprising that the team with an undefeated record in the group stage had no difficulties to defeat a team whose players needed to rest. Twists mentioned exhaustion after being eliminated from IEM Rio. It had a significant impact on his individual performance. His rating dropped from 1.20 to 1. The FaZe players definitely needed to rest and a reset before entering CS2. Despite their disappointing tournaments, they won the Intel Grand Slam, a major and numerous Tier 1 championships in 1.5 years. So I don't expect any roster changes. Monty. Monty didn't achieve success quickly. Firstly, a few weeks before the Major, they changed their captain. Then, throughout the tournament, they played without a coach who couldn't travel due to the new restrictions for esports athletes from Ukraine. However, these challenges only toughened the players. In the Challenger stage, they made it to the Legend stage by defeating Fluxo, Mongols, and Pain Gaming. While everyone was preparing for their opponents in the Legend stage, Monty played another official match in the qualifiers, this time against Eyeballers. The next day, they defeated Fnatic and Furia, but lost to Vitality for the 3-0 spot in the playoffs. In the crucial match against Navi, they completely outplayed Born to Win. Unfortunately, Monty fell short in the playoffs. The players seemed to be off their game. They only won 13 rounds across 2 maps in the quarterfinals against Gamer Legion. Exhaustion was evident in some players, as playing 200 maps in 6 months proved to be quite a challenge. However, this doesn't diminish their achievements. Monty has captured the hearts of thousands of esports fans across the world. Hopefully, the team will stay together and make it to the ESL Pro League Season 18 with their coach. However, there are substantial reasons to doubt the roster's stability. The star player of the lineup, Boros, is rumored to be receiving offers from top clubs. Later, Monty CEO denied these rumors. Boros himself commented on a potential transfer to another club, saying, "I want the best for me, and I would like to be in a top 10 team. I don't care if it's with Monty or with another team. I just want to make it." Before we continue, we would like to remind you that you can support our channel financially. You can do this via Patreon or PayPal. You'll find all the details in the description below this video. Heroic. For me, Heroic's elimination in the semifinals was the biggest upset of the tournament. After seeing the playoff bracket, the final between Heroic and Vitality seemed highly probable. However, Gamer Legion and their incredible rifler Ime didn't leave any chances for the Danes to reach the final. One could say it was karma. When you tweet something like that before a match against Legion, be prepared for it to come back to you at the most inconvenient moment. It could be just trash talk on social media, or maybe not. Perhaps the players and the coach themselves also thought it would be an easy semifinal, but reality turned out differently. If we look at Heroic statistics, their elimination seems quite justifiable. You simply can't perform so poorly on a decisive map, especially considering it's one of your best maps. Should Heroic consider a reshuffle? If so, who should they replace? Staven and Cadian will definitely stay. The former is the best statistically, and the latter is the captain. That leaves Tessus, Shush, and Yabi. Could it be Coach Exist? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. T2 greater than T1. This major was full of sensations. G2, Navi, ENT, Fnatic, NIP, and Furia were left out of the playoffs. Their spots in the champion stage were taken by teams that played more frequently in farm tournaments like CCT, rather than Tier 1 championships, Apex, Gamer Legion, Monty, and Into the Breach. They regularly played multiple tournaments simultaneously, with 2 to 3 official matches every day. Although it proved exhausting for some players in these teams, it provided them with a great deal of game practice, which turned out to be very beneficial at the major. Many teams that played in only 1 to 2 tournaments per month and had few official matches, but focused more on practice and individual training, were eliminated very early from the major. And what dramatic stories these teams gave us. Knock, who was kicked out of NIP to make a free slot for Device, sent the Swedish team packing straight to the airport. SDY, who was booted from Navi and deemed an unworthy player, kicked Navi from the major and reached playoffs. Into the Breach, who started their journey for the major from open qualifiers, proved that British CS is still alive and producing talented players like Cypher. Vitality. The last rehearsal before the major, better known as IEM Rio 2023, turned out to be just 50% accurate. It only determined the winner. Indeed, home ground advantage is a crucial factor in the victory. Considering that Vitality has its ultras, their opponents in matches were not only hindered by the players themselves, but also the fans who provided support and hints.
We've never had a trumpet. Outstanding.
However, it cannot be said that Vitality won the tournament unfairly. All the players on the team were in unreal form, with ZywOo shining as the standout player with a rating of 1.39. Well-deserved MVP. It's now easy to predict who will claim the top spot in the HLTV rankings in 2023. Together with Apex, ZywOo restored faith in French CS. The French had not won a major since 2015. Besides the French, this major was significant for the Danes. Dupree and Zonic became the only 5-time major champions in CSGO, one as a player, the other as a coach. But another fact demonstrates Vitality's current strength. They became the second team after Navi to not drop a single map at the major. So perhaps it's time for Vitality to build its era. There is one problem though. CS2 is coming out in the summer, which could significantly change the balance of power in esports. However, in CS history, there has already been a story where a new game version couldn't replace the old one, and most tournaments continued to be held on the old version. That's all for today. How did your pick'ems go? Did you get a diamond coin? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. See you very soon.